Alright, solve using the quadratic formula. They will give you the quadratic formula on there, but x equals negative b plus or minus squared. B squared minus 4ac divided by 2a, and you have to know what a, b, and c are. So that's solving ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So I need this to be in standard form, so I'm going to subtract the 1 over. And then I've got my a, b, and c. X equals opposite b plus or minus the square root of b squared. Negative 3 squared is positive 9 minus 4 times a times c, which is negative 1, divided by 2a, and that's 2, so 4. Now 9, this is negative 4 times 2 times negative 1. Or minus 4 times 2 times negative 1. 4 times 2 is 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. When you subtract a negative 8, you're adding it. So 9 plus 8, that's 3 plus and minus the square root of 17 divided by 4. On this one, again, I have to get it all in the same side. So minus 10x minus 2. Please don't make a, because then you divide by a negative right here, and then most people don't realize that means you need to switch the sign. So x equals opposite b plus or minus square root of b squared, so 100, minus 4 times a times c divided by 2a, 18. That's 72, so 28. No. 8 times 9. Oh, I forgot my negative. That was bad. Okay. So that is negative 2. So that would be 100 plus 72, so 172. Then plus and minus square root of 172 over 18. 172. So 172 would be 2 times, let's see, 86. And then that would be 2 times 43. So 4 times 43. 43 does not simplify by the square. So the square root of 4 times 43 would be 2 root 43. So 10 plus or minus 2 root 43 over 18. 10, 2, and 18 all divide by 2. So 5 plus or minus the square root of 43. On number 6, it says solve the following polynomial. So I'm going to get everything on the same side and keep the highest power term positive. So 2x cubed minus x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 0. And then we're going to factor by grouping. So when you factor by grouping, you have to remember that you keep the first two terms together. And then the second two terms, that negative is part of the 2. So what I put in its place is plus. So plus and minus, right? I'm going to factor out the common factor, which is x squared, and I'm left with 2x minus 1. I'm going to factor out a negative from this to make it 2x minus 1. So I'm going to factor out a negative from 1. You always have to factor out something. And I'm left with 2x minus 1. So we factor out the common factor, 2x minus 1. And then you're left with x squared minus 1. And we're trying to solve for when that equals 0. So you can just set them each equal to 0 and solve. And you get x equals 1/2. And here you get x squared equals 1, and x equals plus and minus 1, because you take the square root. Plus and minus square root of 1 is plus and minus 1. So my answers are 1/2 and plus and minus 1. On part B, you don't have any constant terms, which means you could just factor out the common factor. So I'm going to factor out a 2 and an x squared, and I'm left with x squared minus 25 equals 0. Now, I could solve this the same way I solved this, set each of these equal to 0, or I could just know that this is 0. It is 0, the multiple of 2, but I'm not worried about it right now. And then you could remember that this factors to x plus 5 and x minus 5, just like we could have factored x squared minus 1 to x plus 1, x minus 1. But either way, you get the same thing if you solve, but you got to remember to do the plus and minus. So add the 25, plus and minus the square root of 25, which means plus and minus 5. And there we go. On 7 through 10, you've got these quadratic functions, and it's asking you to determine all the characteristics of it. So I'm going to do most of this without a calculator. Of course, you can use the calculator to do a lot of it, but I'm just going to go ahead and see what I can do without. As far as A, determine whether the parabola opens up or down. All you gotta do to look at that is the leading coefficient is positive, so that means it's gonna be a parabola that opens up like that. Okay. Part B, find the vertex. So, one way to do this would be to graph it and find the minimum, because it will have a minimum, and that would be the vertex. I'm gonna complete the square and put it in vertex form. So x squared minus 4x plus blank minus 5 minus blank. So whatever I add here, I have to subtract here because it's not an equation. It's on the same side of the expression. We're going to complete the square with this right here. So x minus 2 quantity squared. But in order for this to be x minus 2 quantity squared, I got to add a 4, which means I have to subtract a 4. So this is actually this quadratic right here. So if you were to graph this, then you would see that it goes to the right 2 and down 9, which is where that minimum is. So part B, the vertex, is 2, negative 9. C, find the x-intercepts of any. So x-intercepts, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, well, I have a couple options now. I could factor this and solve, if it factors and solve. Or I could set this equal to 0 and solve. But I can only do this if I complete the square, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. So x minus 5 and x plus 1. X equals 5 and negative 1. So my x-intercepts are 5, 0, and negative 1, 0. The y-intercept is when x equals 0. And so when x equals 0, I just got to plug in 0 right here and there. And 0 minus 5 is negative 5. E, give the symmetry of the parabolas, give the equation of the parabola's axis of symmetry. So if I have a parabola that goes to the right 2 and down 9, and it opens up, the axis of symmetry is always the x equals the vertical line through the x, or through the vertex. So that would be just x equals 2, whatever the x value of your vertex is. For F, graph the parabola using the vertex intercepts and any additional points you might need. So, okay, so I got negative 2, 9. I know it crosses at negative 1, 0, and 5, 0. And I know the y-intercept is negative 5. So that would be the basics of it. Now, again, since it's multiple choice, it would just be matching if you had to. And then G, identify the function's domain and range. So domain is how far left and right, which is all real numbers, from negative infinity to positive infinity. And then range is high and low. We'll start from low and go to high. The lowest it goes is negative 9, and the highest it goes is infinity. Do you guys need me to like remind you how you can find intercepts and all that on the calculator? No, ish. Yeah. Yeah, technically, like the ones who are taking it to college, they don't have a graphing calculator. They only have a scientific one. But then I was like, well, but we don't have those. And they were like, yeah, y'all can just use yours. And I'm like, but that makes it really easy. And they didn't change their mind, so whatever. It is what it is. Okay. So, just a reminder, if I wanted to. X squared minus 4x minus 5. It's got to be something easy about this semester, right? Zoom 6 standard window, and I can actually see it right here. If you want to be able to find your x-intercepts, those are zeros, and so it says left bound. So if I go to the left of this point and then go to the right of this point, then I can find the zeros. If I want to find the y-intercept, I can just do second calculate and go to value, because it's when x equals 0, and press enter, and it tells you the y value. If I want to find the minimum, the vertex, then I just go min, and I go, I'm to the left of the minimum right now, I go to the right of the minimum, over here, and then it finds the actual minimum, which is the point 2, negative 9. Okay? Alright. Again, I'm going to do a lot of these without a calculator stuff. Remind you what you can't do. On number 8, same list that we're going to need to do. This is a quadratic with a negative up front, which means it is opening down. So, A, this parabola would open down. B, find the vertex. So I'm going to go ahead and complete the square on this. This one's a little bit different because of the negative. Actually, I don't even know if I need to. I'm going to factor out the negative and see what happens. If I factor out the negative, you get x squared plus 6x plus 9. And let's go ahead and factor it. The factors of 9 that add up to 6 are 3 and 3. So you actually get that the function is just this parabola, which is just a parabola shifted to the left 3 and flipped over the x-axis. Does that make sense? So I've actually got to the left 3. I've got my parabola, and then it flips over, so it actually does this. And I'm going to wait until I plot some more points before I... Well, I'll go ahead, whatever. And we'll just pretend like that's symmetrical. Okay. So, for part B, my vertex is the coordinate point negative 3, 0. Again, if you graphed it on the calculator, you can find that as well. C, find the x-intercepts. It crosses the x-intercept, or the x-axis at negative 3, 0, so that, or actually doesn't, it bounces, but that is the x-intercept. D, find the y-intercept. Y-intercept is when x equals 0. So when x equals 0, if I plug in 0 into the original, I get negative 9 left over, which means this right here is negative 9. E, give the equation of the parabola's axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry would be this vertical line. So the axis of symmetry would be x equals negative 3. It is an equation, so make sure you write down x equals. Graph the parabola using the vertex, so we did that. G, identify the function's domain and range. So the domain, negative infinity to infinity. Always negative infinity to infinity. Range is low to high. The lowest it goes is negative infinity, and the highest it goes is the y value, which is 0. For 9 and 10, they're already in vertex form, which makes it easy. So we're going to go to the left 3 and up 1. So we'll go ahead and kind of sketch that. Go to the left 3 and up 1, and that would be where my vertex is. This is a positive parabola. If I were to expand that out, you get a positive x squared plus some other stuff, which means A, it opens up. And in fact, hopefully you guys remember the pattern is over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4, over 3, up 9. So if we go over 1 and up 1 on both sides, and then over 2 and up 4, so over 2 and up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 5 and up 9, and that would get me to my y-intercept, which I need to sketch, but I will. So that's 5. So what's it? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh. Okay, so it would be up there. And again, you're going to be matching, so whatever. Okay, B. The vertex. So the vertex is given right there. We're going to go left 3 and up 1, so negative 3, 1. C, find the x-intercepts. It never crosses the x-axis. D, find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is when x equals 0. Now, I already plotted it, so I know where it is. It's at 10, but I could also figure that out by plugging it in. 0 plus 3, quantity squared plus 1. 3 squared is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. E, axis of symmetry is the vertical line, so that's x equals negative 3 again. F is the graph, and G is the domain range. So domain, negative infinity to infinity. Range, the lowest it goes is 1, and the highest it goes is infinity. Number 10, again, we've got a parabola in vertex form. This means go to the right 4, and this means go down 4. So to the right 4, down 4. So to the right 4, down 4. Okay. This, I don't know why I drew it that way. It opens up. Ridiculous. So, so to the right 4 and down 4. A, this is a positive quadratic, so it is going to open up. B, my vertex is to the right 4, down 4, so 4, negative 4. C, we need the x-intercepts. So x-intercepts are where this hits the x-axis. So yes, we could graph it, or yes, we could type it in the calculator. I'm going to go ahead and use my pattern, and then I'm also going to show you how I can solve for it. So if we go over 1 up 1, they don't know horizontal stretches and compressions, so it's just vertical. Okay. And then over 2 and up 4, so that puts me right here and right here. So I actually know that it crosses at 2 and at 6. But I could also just set compression.
I was like,
yeah.
She has sonar hearing or something.
Oh, that's funny. And then I didn't hear that.
Almost nothing over here. You can answer across the classroom. Like, how does she?
Yeah, that's funny because I can hear that in the classroom, and then you can be sitting right beside me talking to me. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. So x minus 4, if I'm trying to solve this, because that's another way to solve for x-intercepts, I'm going to add the 4 over. I'm going to take the square root, so plus and minus the square root of 4, which is plus or minus 2. And then I'm going to add the 4 over. So x equals 4 plus and minus the square root of 4, which is 2. 4 plus 2 is 6, and 4 minus 2 is 2, and so you can see how we get 2 and 6. So 2, 0, and 6, 0. D, the y-intercept. Y-intercept is when x equals 0, so let's plug in x equals 0. I'll do that up here. So 0 minus 4, quantity squared minus 4. 0 minus 4 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. 16 minus 4 is 12. So that would be when x equals 0, y equals 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if I needed to sketch it, then I would go up there. But I'm not super worried about that. This would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I follow the pattern, here's my parabola. I'm not worried about that many points though, so. Anyway. E is the axis of symmetry, so that would be the vertical line through x equals 4. F is the graph, and G is the domain range. So domain, negative infinity to infinity. Range, low to high, the lowest it goes is negative 4, the highest it goes is infinity. Okay, I don't know if you guys realized this, but on 12 and 13, A, B, C, and D are multiple choice. They're not like things that you have to do.
Which 13?
On 12 and 13 on the page 4. So it's really just in behavior. When it says rises to the left and the right, that's just like when we would say up, up, and falls down, down, rises to the left, and falls to the right, rises to the right, and falls to the left. So that's just like saying you got your even in behavior and you got your odd in behavior. And just remember that if you have a positive leading coefficient, you should be going up in general. If you have a negative leading coefficient, you should be going down. So number 12 has a degree of 5, which is odd, and then the leading coefficient is 7, which is positive. So odd positive goes in opposite direction and down up. So this would be D, because it would be something that would start down here and end up there. 13, the leading coefficient is, or sorry, the degree is actually 4. You got to go for the highest one, which means the leading coefficient is negative. So if the degree is 4 and the leading coefficient is negative, then that means you're going down, down, which means the answer is B.